Your someday starts today. It's time to explore and test the newest science, methods, and trends for creating a life you love with your host, TanyaMFK. Welcome to My Designed Life.
Welcome to My Designed Life, where we bring you realistic ways to create your best life now and then test them to see what really works. I'm your host, TanyaMFK. Thank you for joining me today. You can catch us every other Monday live right here at 3 p.m. EST, as well as YouTube, Binge Networks TV, IGTV, My Designed Life podcast, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Also want to send a big hello out to our FM listeners at 99.1 FM, WDJY, and WTTA 101 in Kentucky and Ohio. Thank you for tuning in and always supporting our show. So today we are going to be learning how to sleep our way to the top. Yes, literally sleeping to get to the top of our game, life goals, and successes. As a society, we are grossly naive in the power of sleep and the consequences of deprivation. When the world around us praises the sleepless hustle and grinders, how do we justify sleeping our opportunities away? Well, it turns out the science has some new facts about sleep and success that might convince you to change the way you live every day. But first, in our last show, we met with Heather Dollar and learned how clutter affects our minds and successes. Now, being an organization queen, I kind of felt that I would be a bit immune to the lesson until she said, you can also have organized clutter. Uh-oh, guys, that's where she got me, okay? I was like, oh my God, there it was. So here's the thing. It's not really about how your closet looks or your files look. It's about the mental burden that these things weigh on you. And while I do still have everything in my house labeled and organized, I also had a Google Drive and some MailChimp files, if any of you dealt with that, that were kind of in chaos. And honestly, it made me want to avoid certain tasks. So I spent the last week focusing on getting these areas of my life decluttered. And truth be told, it was rough. It was not fun. But the end result, a feeling of freedom and clarity that it's you could so easily see how these seemingly unrelated things, right? How is my mess of files going to affect my success? You see the mental burden that they were holding. And so as soon as those things were cleared out, my willingness to go create an email in MailChimp, my willingness to create these things, to do this work, it completely changed. This feeling I didn't even know was there. So, oh my gosh, this clutter, guys, it is such a real thing. Go clean something, go organize something. And it wasn't just organize and label and all that, because like she said, you can have organized clutter. But it was really about getting out, getting rid of things I didn't even need, that were just taking up space for no other reason than because they were organized, which isn't a good reason. So it was also kind of a gateway task. So it really opened up the path for me to get more and more things in order. So just like that organized clutter, while everything has its place, like I said, some of these things, it just need to be cleared out. So if you didn't catch the last episode, go back and watch it. And I challenge you to choose a space, area, even a situation, and commit to decluttering. I guarantee you will notice an immediate difference once it's done. So that's it for decluttering. Go get something clear. For today's guest, now it's time. She began her research into integrative medicine long before even attending medical school. Interning at the University of Michigan's integrative medicine program, she was intrigued by the whole person approach to health and healing, which confirmed her desire to become a doctor. Pursuing her career and receiving numerous accolades as a chief resident physician, including Resident of the Year and recognition for her work ethic, leadership qualities, and bedside manner, she found herself lacking fulfillment and frustrated with the current model of medicine that focused on disease management. She wanted to see people get healed, and it was then that she promptly left her position to pursue the roots that she remembered in integrative medicine. Now part of the Natural Balance Wellness Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan, she gets to focus on precision medicine, advanced neurocare, detoxification, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, adrenal, hormone, thyroid health, functional nutrition, as well as cardiometabolic, gastrointestinal, pain, mood, and sleep medicine. These are all things, yes. Guiding a team known nationally for their novel genetic-based approach to complex illnesses and using preventative wellness for adults and children, she helps the people that other doctors have labeled with puzzling health problems with no currently known resolutions. The key to her team's success is in addressing all hidden body imbalances, nutritional deficiencies, infections, inflammations, dysregulated immunity, and underlying genetic weaknesses that allow disease in the first place. So, in short, when a woman with this mass amount of knowledge tells me to pay attention to sleep, I'm going to listen. So please get your ears ready and help me welcome Ms. Dr.Aarti Soorya. Hi, Dr. Soorya.
Hi, Tanya. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be learning about sleep. I'm in my cozy sweater, and and after being jet lagged, I just got back from California. I am so excited to hear from you and what we're going to learn in this topic. Like, just with your background, everything, I'm just extremely excited. So maybe if you could even just start, I know I went in depth a little bit, but tell us a little more about why the integrative medicine approach is different than what most of us are used to.
Sure. So first of all, thank you for that awesome intro.
You did it.
The integrative or functional medicine approach is looking at treating the root cause of disease rather than just treating the symptom. So in Western medicine, it's very good at certain things like acute care, and and if you need a surgery or some accident or some trauma, it's so good at that, but it's not very good at treating chronic lifestyle issues. And so, what we aim to do is kind of take it a step back and, look at the full picture. Where is a person nutritionally, emotionally, hormonally,
Right.
What is their interaction with the environment? Like, how are they handling stress? Kind of seeing all aspects of an individual and then treating them accordingly.
Right. Because what tends to happen, and for those of you who have been with me, you may or may not heard, my background long before years before this was actually in healthcare and in research. And so my familiarity in Western medicine is, we come in with the symptom, and the goal of that visit seems to be to either get rid of the symptom or at least get it under control. Right.
Right.
So we have a headache, we take a headache medication. We rarely are there reasons for a doctor to go further to say, well, why are you having this headache? What's causing it? They just go, well, you have a headache. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of the headache. Right.
Yeah.
So you're really looking at that whole person. You're going, yes, you may have a headache. Yes, we can give you this headache medication, but let's also figure out why these are happening. Right?
Exactly. Because every symptom is your body's way of telling you something that, hey, something's off balance. So I think we're kind of conditioned to think right now that, headaches are normal, or,
Yes.
all of our insomnia or whatever it may be, whatever symptom, we're just very conditioned. Oh, that's just how it is.
Yes.
Let me pop a pill. But the underlying thing is correcting the root issue of why that's happening in the first place, so that you can live a long, healthy, happy life.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this. I don't even have any particular issue, but I just want to go and have someone look at everything. Just look at me. Like, we don't have to be sick to go see
no, not at all.
Right?
Not at all. It's great to be preventative.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you're here to talk to us about sleep. And I feel like sleep is just one of those things. Like, it's like the apple a day thing. We've all heard it, but rarely is anyone eating an apple a day. That's probably not even true anyway, the apple a day thing. But we've heard the rules, like eat healthy, get enough sleep, drink lots of water. And we kind of blow that off. I feel like we're like, yeah, there's that. But then there's this cool supplement, or there's bulletproof coffee, or there's like all these other cool fandangled things, which some have their merit, some don't. But we seem to underestimate this, like the sleep part. And I feel like, especially in our world of, I always kind of blame Instagram. It's not just Instagram, but scroll through Instagram and see how many, inspirational quotes you see about sleeping when you're dead, hustle and grinding, pushing through, right? Like, coffee's the way I get through life, and everyone's like, yeah, I totally get it. We all just glorify that. We're like, yeah, I love that. There's something wrong with that, isn't there?
There's something totally wrong with that. And, the roots of it actually began during the Industrial Revolution, because with the advent of the light bulb, now you've, got light for longer. So you're able to actually work longer. And so when you're able to work longer, you're able to, increase productivity. And in our minds, that kind of got ingrained as success. And so we've kind of equated grinding and hustling and everything, with success. So people are very easy to kind of dismiss sleep as something that they actually need to do, because that's going to, one, take away time from them becoming or climbing up the ladder. When in fact, actually, you're finding the opposite now, that, burnout rates and, effects on health are actually very, very detrimental when you actually compromise sleep. But that attitude is definitely very much ingrained in our society. So it's easy for people to be like, sleep is for the weak, or sleep is just a waste of time.
Because we got that light bulb life hack. We were like, success tip, light bulb.
Exactly.
You no longer have to stop when it's dark. You can keep going. And so I'm sure at that time, they did give people an advantage, right? They got those, they were probably going to sleep. I mean, God knows when, like right now for me, it's getting dark at, 5 p.m. So I'm sure they were winding down their evening at 5 p.m. Where in our world right now, most people are barely leaving work by that time, like a normal 9 to 5. And then you throw the entrepreneurial life in there, which is again, kind of glorifies that 80-hour work week.
Yes.
So we're doing that. And then, so we have this going on, and then kind of the machismo attached to it of like, yeah, that means you're doing good, you're hustling hard. But we're finding now suicide rates are high, depression rates are high. And as a matter of fact, I read in Cal Newport's book, Be So Good They Can't Ignore You. He did research and found that even with all our pursuits of passion and this idea that we're focused more on like the things of the heart, like it's not just getting that pension that maybe used to be in the 50s, that 90% of even millennials, 90% report unsatisfactory, like they're not happy with their jobs.
Absolutely.
So we're grinding and hustling and not sleeping, and still no one's happy.
No one's happy. And that's leading to, like, studies have shown that, sleep deprivation, obviously mood questionnaires show increased anxiety, stress, but also aggressive behavior and increased suicidality. So there's a definite mental health component to this that definitely needs to be addressed. And sleep is one big component of this.
Yeah. Well, let's go into that a little bit. I'm sure people are hearing this like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to sleep. I get it. But I mean, really, it's going to help me. I'm going to feel suicidal. I'm going to feel depressed. Like, isn't that like another mental situation? But it really, like what sleep is repairing while we sleep, right? Like what it's actually fixing has a huge correlation to that. Can you kind of tell us a little bit like what?
Sure.
Why does it matter so much?
Yeah. So I think like also taking a step back and looking at it from an ancestral health perspective, I think that's important to put it into context, because we moved very quickly from nature to these modern lifestyles. It takes generations for evolution to happen. We haven't had enough time to evolve, just recently, we're like, constantly exposed to blue light and all these things. And so from an ancestral health perspective, the sun would go down. That would trigger a lot of hormonal changes that would happen that would prep your body for sleep. So melatonin should start to rise. Okay. Exactly. And so melatonin should start to rise. That gives your signal, to your brain and body, okay, time to go to bed. There's actually like a 10 to 20% decrease in blood pressure when you start to go to bed. It's called dipping, and that your heart rate starts to go down. And then you move through different stages of sleep. So you in 90-minute cycles. So there's stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and REM. And you're supposed to cycle through that about 5 to 6 times a night. And, from an ancestral health perspective, it actually isn't advantageous to sleep for that long, but it serves a purpose, right? Because if you're knocked out, your senses from the environment are knocked out for that long, you're more subject to, being eaten by a tiger or,
a normal concern something. We have nowadays, right?
Exactly. So there's a purpose, because otherwise it was like Mother Nature's most worst mistake, Right. We need to because why would she want you to zonk out for that long and be like subject to like being eaten, right? Right. That would not be very advantageous. And so it serves a purpose. So each stage of sleep, there's different brainwave activity that's happening. So in the deep stages of sleep, so stages 3 and 4 is when repair happens, when growth hormone is released. That signals tissue repair, memory consolidation. And then when you move into REM sleep, that's where your emotional consolidation happens. So this is where, events from the morning or day, you're able to kind of consolidate that. decrease
So we have a lot. We have a lot going on in here. So we're going to dive into that a little further. Yeah. We have to take a break right now. And guys, if you do too, don't forget that you can take us everywhere you go, live and uncensored, with our UI Media streaming app. Go to uimediaapp.com, and we'll be right back with Dr. Aarti Soorya, learning how to sleep your way to the top. See you soon. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm TanyaMFK, and you're watching My Design Live. We are live here with Dr. Aarti Soorya, and we are learning how to use sleep to create our best life. And before we dive right back in, I just want to remind you to like, comment, ask, or share this video, and we'll be checking in with you all soon. If you'd like to call in, chat, or have some sleep questions for the doctor, please call at +1 678 495 4345. So, Dr. Soorya, before the break, you were starting to go into what's happening. So before we've even gone to sleep, these processes in our body, that trigger of just even the light, the changes, the time of day is changing our hormones, our blood pressure, all of these things.
Absolutely.
Then we actually get to bed. For those of us, and I would definitely at some point in this conversation want to also address this insomnia issue that people are accepting as normal as well. But let's say you've gotten past that, you're actually going to sleep. So you were saying that we have to go through these 90-minute REM cycles like 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm. A 90-minute, different stages of sleep.
Different stages of sleep.
With REM, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then you were starting to tell us kind of what's happening in each of those, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, you're starting to get drowsy, then, the brain waves start to slow down a little bit. And then when you get to the deeper stages of sleep, stages 3 and 4, this is where it's so important for memory consolidation, for cleaning like all the toxic waste and everything. And then in REM is when you start to consolidate the emotional stuff that's happened in the day. So what they have found is that, Alzheimer's disease, right? We all actually make the proteins that are found in Alzheimer's disease. Oh, wow. They're called amyloid beta and tau. We all make them. The thing is that it gets cleaned out by sleep. So during the deep stages of sleep, stages 3 and 4 is when your lymphatic system becomes activated. And then it's starting to clean out, kind of like shampoo, just cleans out everything, okay? Now, if you don't do that, those proteins start to embed in your brain, okay? And they're disrupting how your brain cells communicate with each other. So now they actually also embed in the areas that actually generate sleep. So now you got a double whammy.
Right. Okay. Anyone who's been not sleeping, if you're not freaking out right now, this is the time to freak out.
Yeah. So now you have trouble generating sleep now.
Right.
So it's
and besides the Alzheimer's scary thing that you just mentioned, the whole, when you don't get enough sleep, there's a reason why you're so brain foggy and you can't remember anything and you're not doing well because that's all happening while we sleep, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly. Okay. You're not clearing out the gunk from the day, essentially.
Yeah. And what's actually clearing out the gunk? It's like something going through our brain and our spine?
Yeah, so it's like the lymphatic system, and then the brain has its own lymphatic system, which kind of clears out toxins and waste from the tissues. And then it gets filtered into the blood and then, out through the kidneys. So it's all the body is phenomenally put together that, it has its own cleaning mechanism.
Yeah, it's called sleep.
Yes, you just need to activate it.
All you have to do is sleep, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more. I cut you off. So we're
so with the emotional stuff, we've all seen kids, when they skip their afternoon nap. What are they? They're cranky, right? They're cranky. And, during REM, like the rapid eye movement sleep, this is when you consolidate your emotions. And so it kind of dampens the activity of the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain. So they've done studies where if you skip the REM cycle in sleep, your emotional reactivity is much higher the next day. You're crankier, your mood is off. When you're actually given pictures of the emotions, you're more likely to kind of mess that up and make things more emotional than they actually are.
Wow.
So your perception of life changes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you have sleepy colored glasses on.
Exactly. If you're arguing with, a friend or a spouse or, a significant other, I'm always take a step back. Is everyone sleeping?
Yeah. So it's that much more dramatic just because you're tired.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's hangry. It's like the hungry situation. Just with
you're hangry all the time. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. That's huge. And so now you have these like, again, when we go back to what's glorified now with this, again, I think there's so many people with sleep problems, but you do tend to see it glorified in these success circles, right?
Sure,
In the entrepreneur world. So you have all of these hard, like overachieving people who are already predisposed to like moodiness, drama, like memory loss.
Yes.
Like it's, and as I'm saying that, I was going to say it's a surprise that they achieve anything, but I'm going to roll that back by saying when you actually interview some of the top CEOs, one of the things that most people are surprised to hear is like they get a ridiculous amount of sleep. They don't work as hard as we think they do. They actually do a lot less. They spend more time with family, and they attribute that to their success.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% believe that. You look at top athletes like Roger Federer, LeBron James, they prioritize sleep.
That's and I'm gonna throw Elon Musk under the bus here real quick because I love him, but I always have a bone to pick with him because of all these top like people who are succeeding. He has one of the worst schedules that he's talked about, that he'll sleep like 2 minutes under his desk. Well, that's how you throw a bowling ball in a car and break the window because you probably didn't have enough sleep, guys.
Yes.
So if you guys watched that recent flop that happened, I'm going to blame it on Elon's sleep. So
I agree. I completely agree with that.
They hadn't slept enough, and that's why they didn't research enough that wasn't going to happen. So okay.
There was this other interesting fact, if I can tell you, like because hypertension, high blood pressure is like rampant. So when you don't dip during sleep, so 10 to 20% that normally happens, they have found that even if your blood pressure is normal, you still have like an increased risk for stroke and heart attack. So don't let that your like good numbers necessarily give you that false sense of security. You're still at increased risk.
Right, because you're not getting that downtime. And this is another reason why I'm a huge advocate of the like no social media, get off your phones, like no digital things. When you first wake up to fill your mind, but obviously when you're going to sleep, right? So you're getting this dip and your body's trying to do this natural thing that you're telling us. And then we're stimulating it and like getting sometimes worked up over what a coworker posted or excited or whatever, right? The political thing, everything's like, throw that on there. You're like, why did my aunt say that? So like that can't be helping our blood pressure or even just our transition into sleep.
Exactly. It's conflicting messages for the brain.
Yeah. So we can talk a little now, I guess, about the insomnia, but also any other things like because I think in one of our sections, I started want to get into some solutions, but I also want to go into now with a little more into perhaps the insomnia issues and what other things that you're seeing, like the mistakes that are being made or other myths that we're dealing with. Like, let's dig in deep to the scary stuff, guys, and then we'll get to solutions.
Sure. So like the insomnia thing, I think a big part of it is actually the amount of stress that we're under. Right. I'm saying this because it takes one to know one.
Right. Yeah. Doctors aren't necessarily known for being like the most rested people.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting that you've taken this turn.
Yeah. No. And I everyone around me knows, sleep is my thing. You've got to prioritize sleep and everything. But, stress is definitely something, we're all used to it as a society. We've accepted that this is the norm. And I will tell you, this is not the norm. So our nervous system is supposed to be in a nice balance. So there's sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is your fight or flight. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. This is what we need most of the time with spurts of stress responses. Right. We're all living more in this fight or flight mode, which is not normal. And so that's keeping us all wound up and the nervous system more, towards that side. So it's difficult, from an ancestral health perspective. If you're in fight or flight, your body is interpreting it like you're running away from a tiger. Right. And so you're obviously not going to sleep when you're running away from a tiger.
Your whole body's intense. Everything's like tensed up and
And so we have metaphorical tigers now. We have deadlines. We have relationships. We have, all
full
social
inboxes,
media.
Right.
The light exposure.
Crazy files in MailChimp.
Yes, exactly. So that's keeping all of our nervous systems really, really like wound up. And so I think a lot of the issue is, of course, ruling out medical causes of sleep issues, but is that nervous system that's totally overactive.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say there's like, we have so much going on. We're so, there's the stress levels are high. We're accepting it as norm. And on top of that, I feel like we're so distracted. So as soon as we do have a moment that we could think or decompress, we're usually on our phones or filling it with something. So the only time we're giving our brain even a moment to listen to what's going on in our heads is when we finally shut up and we're supposed to be going to sleep. Right.
Yes.
And that's when we're like, oh, brain, tell me all the things I've not let you said today.
Right. Or let me hop on Netflix now.
Yeah. Right. So like finally do you have that quiet moment, like all the things that like it's been holding back. It's like, okay, remember this, let's talk about this, and this. And of course we're like, I couldn't go to sleep. I've been thinking all night. I had all this stuff on my brain because we've avoided it all day.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. So we're doing this where so insomnia, guys, is not the norm.
No.
Right. So, I mean, like you said, there can be
acute periods of insomnia,
yes,
dependent on like, your stress, you might be going through something stressful, parent passed away or something like that.
Right.
That's acute.
But it's not the
norm.
Should
resolve. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a normal accepted thing. Like Ambien is not a normal part of life.
No.
Right? Like these things. No. Yeah. And that's another thing I would like point out, because sleeping pills are not, I was reading something that they are not actually even restorative rest.
No, it's sedation. It's not rest. It's not sleep. It's not healing. So it's knocking off consciousness. Same thing like with alcohol. It's just knocking off consciousness, but you're not getting into deep stages of sleep. Like with alcohol, you're getting this conflicting brainwave activity where you're getting delta, which is the slow wave stuff, which is the healing stuff. But then you also got alpha, which is a little bit more alert. So you're like, am I sleeping? Am I not sleeping? Like, so you're never, who feels rested after they have a
right. Yeah. Who feels, oh, that was a great hangover sleep.
Yes,
I feel so refreshed. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and then same thing with the sleep meds. It's just, it may help you fall asleep or, but you're not getting into the deep sleep.
You're not getting the benefits of sleep. You're out. You're not conscious. You're not up thinking.
Exactly.
But your body's still not getting the stuff it needs to be doing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Sedation. That's all it is.
So are there any other like myths or things that you come across with like patients that come in or people think, well, what if I do this, it should be okay, or words of caution that you have?
Yes, actually. So people think that they can make up their lost sleep. Like, oh, Monday through Friday, I grind, but then I sleep, 12 hours over the weekend. You cannot store sleep. Like you can store fat. Okay. So again, it goes back to like ancestral.
And we don't want that.
We don't want that. We don't want that. Right.
The only things we can store aren't good, guys. Okay.
Exactly. All meant to be protective. So there was never a reason for us not to sleep before. So we never evolved to need to store sleep. So if you miss out on that repair, you miss out on, a lot of, you're setting the stage for disease. So like one night of bad sleep actually increases your insulin levels, increases your glucose levels. So,
does it compound?
The longer you do it like this, the longer you live like this, right? You're slowly taking away from your cup, essentially.
Wow.
And so, that's why, like all the
and we're not cleaning out those, what were the Alzheimer things?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So it's getting crazy, guys. Again, if you're out there and you're hustling, grinding, and like, God knows, I have done years of, working in, I'm sure you hear the stories in like medical school, the doctors are working crazy hours, the ER room, those things, the work that I did in clinical work. And then I worked in music. Like there were, nights, shows didn't start till 11 PM. We weren't done till 3 PM. And it was on the road the next day. So, I'm terrified to know what I've built up, but I'm also, I understand there is some light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yes,
there is something that we're going to find out. So guys, stay tuned. We are going to take another break. As we take our break, make sure you set your alarm for 6 p.m. EST today to join host Cheryl Andrea as she interviews storyteller and visionary Tony Burrows on the Soulful Family Show. That's today at 6 p.m. EST. Stay tuned. We'll see you right in just a moment. All right, guys, welcome back to My Design Life. I'm your host, TanyaMFK, and we are learning how to sleep our way to the top. Right now, we figured out how not sleeping is putting us right at the bottom. And as we joke and laugh, there's some serious kind of scary stuff going on here. And we also saw some notes from our audience. Thank you so much. Billy says, right on, preach it, ladies. So we have a fan of sleep in our comments there. So guys, don't forget, if you do
so
have
happy
any,
to hear that.
yeah, if you have any questions or anything else that come up, or maybe in particular situations, we're not going into full diagnosis, but feel free to ask your questions. We can get them answered while Dr. Soorya is with us right now. So we're learning some scary things. We're learning that we can't make up sleep. It will compound. It will leave us open for disease. Sleeping pills are not going to help us. They're not giving us the restful sleep. They're not the answer. Insomnia is not to be accepted as a regular thing. So what do we do? So, like, for someone like me who has had years of knowing I'm not doing it the right way, trying to do it better, you know, I'm on that path, but I definitely am not always there. Like, what's potentially in store for me, and what can I do to, I guess, get back on track, or can I undo what I've done?
I think you can. Yes. I think like once you start to get more restorative sleep and get into the deeper stages, absolutely. You'll notice it too. You'll feel better. You'll feel more energetic. So I think one of the biggest things is keeping your rhythm, your circadian rhythm, very consistent from day to day. So, you know, even on the weekends, there's this whole thing of social jet lag that happens to a lot of people on a weekly basis. You know, the more people are aware of this, I think the more, you know, everyone will kind of be on board about keeping a rhythm to their daily life. So it actually starts with, you know, you step outside from the morning, you see some sunlight. That helps entrain actually all of your organs, because all of your organs have a clock gene in them that tells them what time to repair. Now, if you're constantly changing the time on it, it's very confusing to the body. And it's like, I don't know when to repair this or not. So the other thing is that you can't repair all of it. Exactly. And you can't repair all of your organs at once, because that's too much happening. That's overwhelming to the body.
Right. I think so.
You know, it's like, I got a lot to clean up here.
Right. Especially after what you've been doing.
Exactly. So keeping, you know, a circadian rhythm in check. Only having caffeine in the morning, because it takes about, the half-life of caffeine is about, you know, anywhere between 4 to 6 hours. So it takes, you know, you keep compounding that. People still have caffeine in them, even from their morning drink late into the night. So
I was reading that, like, I thought it was like a couple hours, maybe like a 2-hour thing, but I was reading it was like 5 up to 7 hours. It can still affect you. And I've learned that the hard way. Strict tea, I'm like non-caffeinated tea. And I just blamed it on getting old, but I think I just wasn't paying attention or being sensitive enough to it in the past. Exactly. I was on that hustle grind. So I don't think my body changed, just my awareness of it changed.
Yes. And I think that's such a great point, is getting in tune, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just getting older. Of course, I'm going to be more tired. Don't use that as an excuse. I will tell you, if you optimize these things, you will feel better. You will feel more energetic. So watching your caffeine intake, alcohol intake. So the same thing for alcohol. It's about like 4 hours half-life for half of it to get out of your system. So people are drinking late at night. Now it's going to take you so much longer to get it out of your system. Of course, that's the whole time you're sleeping. You're not repairing. You're not, because your body's trying to metabolize the alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah. So just keeping a circadian rhythm, watching your caffeine, your alcohol, especially blue light. That is one of the environmental factors that we are up against. But, you know, these are all just little lifestyle hacks that you can make to really optimize your sleep. So watching.
So I want to make sure you guys heard that the blue light filters, like that, they are everywhere. They're on our phones, they're on our screens. They're in like actual lights, like things like that, or not the filter, but the blue light, like the blue light. And so having those filters, a lot of phones now have them built in. And I realize that there's people who don't know that. That you can actually,
and I still would argue, I don't think they do as good of a job as
they don't filter everything. It's like to make some of those effort, and this is why not having screen time late at night is huge.
It's huge. People will be like, oh, I still can sleep. I will tell you that the electrical activity of your brain is probably still pretty active.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though people are like, oh, I can fall asleep.
Before, like, how long should we be away from our screens?
I would say the longer you can do, the better, like 2 to 3 hours. But, you know, for most people, I have to start with like half an hour to an hour to be realistic.
Wean them off of it.
Because then the more you start to feel better, the more you're going to like stick to those habits. So also start with one habit at a time. Don't go nuts and be like, I'm going to fix everything on one day. You're not going to.
You gotta get to sleep early. I'm not going to drink any alcohol. No screen time. That sounds setting yourself up for failure.
The main thing also, like if you can start your day like with 5 minutes of just breathing and then end your day like that, just get yourself out of sympathetic mode into parasympathetic, rest and digest. That can be so helpful for sleep.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of like morning routines and evening routines. So even if it's something as simple as that, it doesn't have to be a 2-hour routine, but just something that kind of gives I always say for myself, like it's a mental transition from one space to the next, right? So like when work is done, there's like, I have like an official closing, like I close my planner, I like close my laptop. Like, so there's a mental transition. To go, okay, I'm now here. It's family time. I'm doing this now. And so same thing with sleep, right? Like you said, it can just be breathing. It could be, turning the phone, putting the phone somewhere else on airplane mode or yoga, whatever it is, right? Just something that gives you that mental or even physical transition to that next stage. And I remember reading something, it was about a gal who gave up artificial light for like a month. Mm-hmm. And she was saying that this means that after like she didn't use any lights in her house, no screens, anything after it was dark. And so she was saying that she always took her a while to fall asleep. So she'd be on her phone and things like that. And so when she was doing this experiment, she was getting ready to go to bed, but she was like, I don't even feel tired. And then she said she'd fall asleep on average between 5 or 10 minutes after getting in bed. And what she was saying, she was like, I was so disconnected from what I thought I felt and what my body was feeling. Yeah. She's like, mentally, she's like, I'm not even tired. And then the body was like, oh, I'm tired. I'm done.
Yes. That is such a wonderful point. Thank you for bringing that up. It's so true because we're disconnected and the grind or push it or, that is very much ingrained in our, society. So it's hard to break it because that's all
we're waiting until they're like nodding off to go, oh, I must be tired now. Yes. And your body's like, I was done 3 hours ago. What's going on here?
Yeah. Because if you think from ancestral health, they had candlelight at most or a fire.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the other thing that can be helpful is getting some nature time in. So 10 minutes in nature can help bring cortisol levels down. So just start to like hormonally kind of bring you back. We were meant to be outside.
Yeah. I know that there were doctors in Japan that actually would prescribe forest time. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I was like, this is amazing. Like why? What? And again, I think these are all things that are really brushed off, right? They're kind of like, oh, who has time for that? I'm on the path to success. And what we're really finding out here, though, is that it's these very things that actually are going to allow you to get rested because when you're rested, right? So let's get to that upswing there too. Like, so here's all the bad things when you're not rested, but what's happening when we are rested? Like, how effective are we then?
Sure. So your attention is better, your focus is better. So you're able to get your work done in a shorter amount of time. So people who are not well rested, then they're pounding the coffees, trying to focus, give them that artificial caffeine, that caffeine buzz so that they can focus. You're more creative. Your mood is better. You're able to accomplish things faster. You're nicer to people. Like it's all good.
And if your mood's better, you actually get more work done. Just that idea of like positive thinking. You're like, oh, I can do this. I'll get through this. I'm like, oh God, I'm so tired. I just want this over with.
Yeah. And you're more likely to work out because you have the energy to work out. You're not going to look at it as a chore. Like there was a study done that if you don't sleep well at night, you're more likely to go for high calorie foods. It's about 289 calories.
Yes. So I was reading that. So lack of sleep. Okay. Again, people. So if none of the scary stuff's convincing you yet.
The weight gain.
Okay. I'm from LA. I get it. Yeah. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm going to crave carbs. That's what I heard. That like lack of sleep, your body will actually crave carbs. So like, especially you keto people out there, you should be freaking out because you're like, this is going to make life so hard. And it does. Your body's like, we need something else because you're not giving us what we need, giving it what we need. So
I think you made a really good point. So you brought up like keto and people who exercise a lot. People will focus so much on that stuff. Like they'll obsess about their diet. They'll obsess about exercising, but they'll just negate sleep. And I'm like, your results will be so much better if you just slept and you won't have to work as hard.
Right. Yeah. Like this, it's restorative. Your body's like in optimal condition. Like all of these, it's like that's the edge, right? It's not
Yes.
the next protein powder or the newest supplement. That's the edge.
Yeah.
It's like it's right
They
there in your
they
bed.
say like sleep is the most legal performance enhancing drug.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So how do we get there? How do we start like making changes and doing it better? Like
So
I'm
I
sure
would,
you come up
yeah,
with people with resistance.
absolutely. But then it's also, I ask them like, do you want to feel better? Like, what is it? What is it
Right.
that's, you always ask like, do they want to change the things that are making them sick?
Right.
Because if you're
Right.
not, then it's like, you're going to be, right where you started. And
Yeah.
so
Then the
it does take
excuses
a
are going to
conscious effort.
win.
Yes. It does take conscious effort, but I'll tell you, from personal experience, when my sleep started to improve, it's just people notice the change in me, just how you interact with people and things like that. So it's more like, do you feel bad enough that you want to change, or do you want to
Right.
prevent disease? Do you want to feel the best and like live the best life possible? Then yeah, you probably will be willing to make the change. But if you're not,
Right.
then accept that. Don't complain about it.
Right. You don't get to say anything about it.
You don't get to say anything about it.
Well, and I think that's the thing, right? Is like no one's going to deny your excuses, because if there's anything that we've discussed in this last, period of time right now, it's that we get it. Everything is against you in so many ways. Society collectively is agreeing that people don't get sleep and that's just the norm. People are all going, oh, I'm stressed. Oh, you're stressed. I'm stressed too. We're all stressed. Oh, that just must be how it is. We're all stressed. Oh, we all have insomnia. Oh, there's not enough time in the world. So like, as a group, if you're looking for these excuses to be justified, like everyone around you is going to be like, yeah, you're right. And there's the blue light, and there's, this and that, and social media. We can find all the reasons. And even if we agree, who wins? Right. So like if you guys go to see Dr. Soorya and you're like, but, and she's like, you're right. Now what? Like,
now
what do you want to do about it? You're right. Everything's against you. So do you want to feel better or not? Or do you want to just...
Yeah. And like the thing is, before I went into integrative medicine, I was in primarily a geriatric population that I was working with. And I'll tell you, it's not pretty, like, all of this stuff. And then the thing is, you have to look at it also from, the cost perspective, that we're really managing these chronic lifestyle issues now with medications. So kind of like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So when some of it can be preventative. And I'm not saying medications are bad. There's a time and a place for them. Absolutely. But I'm saying that when a lot of it is preventative, there's a personal responsibility to your health. I think in this, sometimes we've kind of outsourced that and like, oh, they'll give me the magical pill or they'll give me the magical treatment. And it's like, you have it in you.
And it's not necessarily that magical. There are a lot of side effects with these things.
Absolutely.
And cost and all of that. And yeah, like you said, we have it right there, and getting a proper amount of sleep doesn't have any bad side effects. I'm assuming. It's not like, oh, but then there's this. No, it's like, no, it's all good.
It's all good.
All good.
It's all good. Yeah. If you're sleeping too much, then, you may want to,
Right. Well, and maybe we can dive in on that just a little bit in our next segment. So we're going to take a break right now. And guys, so it's our last break here. We're going to get yourself on a better sleep plan. And to do that, check the United Intentions Foundation Seeds of Intention and Sprouts of Intention Daily Planner Duo to organize your thoughts and maybe your sleep. You can check those out by clicking shop on the uimedianetwork.org website. So go check this out and come right back. All right. So we are back. I'm your host, TanyaMFK, and this is My Design Life Show. So we are wrapping up here with Dr. Soorya as we've been learning ways to create our best life with sleep. So right before the break, you mentioned really quick about too much sleep can also be an option and can also be an issue. And I wanted to jump in there really quick because I know we have the type A's and whatnots over like myself who's like never sleep, but then we have the other ones who are like all I want to do is sleep and like that's the best thing. And I have like a personal thing with that. Like I let's just be honest, it's because my husband is one of those, and so I'm like this can't be good. He shouldn't always want to sleep. Like why is that the thing, right? What is the detriment? Give me some ammo to talk with him about why our life shouldn't be slept away either.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always like the Goldilocks amount of things, not too much, not too little. So same thing with sleep. And so if you're sleeping too much, the things to like think about would be like sleep apnea, to rule that out. So think like clinical signs of that would be like, are you waking up with a headache or feeling toxic, or, gasping for breath, during the night, or like, are you snoring? Do you grind your teeth? So thinking about those types of things, mostly you can kind of try to find someone who's, probably apneic at night. And so that's why they're not getting that restorative sleep. And so then they're sleeping, during the day. And I'll tell you that, in our clinic, we catch it all the time. And people who you don't think actually would have apnea, people have this stereotypical view that it's like a big neck or an obese person. We find it in the teeny tiny people too. So keep it on your radar if you're sleeping quite a bit.
If you're sleeping too much, or if you're finding yourself, so if you're not meeting maybe some of these other criteria, right? Like you're don't feel like you have insomnia, you're not drinking before you go to sleep, maybe all of the blue light, all of those things, but you're sleeping and you're waking up and not feeling like it's restorative at all, that's also a big sign for something, right?
Yes.
So you're getting 8 hours of sleep. And let's just clear that up real quick too, because I know it doesn't have to be 8 hours,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
What's the...
I would say anywhere between 7 and 9, because the cycles are 90 minutes. So you can't really totally equal like 8 hours.
Okay.
So, 5 to 6 cycles. So anywhere between 7 and 9 hours of sleep, I would say, is probably where most people are at. Less than 7, now you start to get into the cognitive issues and mood issues and things like that. So, yeah, great point.
Oh, all right. So I think we actually might have a call coming in. Let's see who we have on the line here. Oh,
hi. This is Stacy from California.
Hi. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. I'm enjoying the show. How are you?
Oh, good.
Doing great. Thanks so much. Did you have a question for Dr. Soorya?
I do. So I was wondering what her opinion is about melatonin supplements and whether they're effective, and does the body have the ability to sort of acclimate where they become less effective over time?
Great question. So melatonin, for those of you who don't know, is the hormone that helps tell us and signal to us that it's time to go to bed. The issue with it long-term use is that it actually can be associated with depression, because if you look at the biochemical pathway, it's tryptophan, 5-HTP, serotonin, then melatonin. Our body works in like feedback mechanisms. So if you always give the end product, it's never going to go through that whole biochemical pathway. So if you never make serotonin, people are going to get depressed. So do not use melatonin long-term. Yes, your body can like acclimate to it. And so the deeper thing would be to really evaluate the whole other lifestyle issues that potentially could be causing why are you not making your melatonin. So like, blue light, for example, there's a study, I think it was iPad usage, like a couple hours before bed, decreases melatonin levels 50%. So it's significant. Like our environment definitely puts a lot of barriers. So I recommend melatonin short, only small amounts. And that's like for jet lag, or like you're getting used to a different time zone, very, very short periods of time, like a couple of days. That's it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So other things you're welcome. Yeah. Just evaluate all the other lifestyle things that might potentially be causing sleep issues.
Right. Exactly. I know that phones and iPads are a big issue because we're always on them, and I'm guilty of using them late at night.
Yes.
Most of us.
Knowledge is power. Now you know better.
Exactly. Well, thanks for all the great information. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling. Yeah. Well, so that's really great. I love that she called and asked that question, because I think that's a big thing we hear. We're like, well, melatonin is natural. So if I'm not popping the, whatever PM, whatever aspirin PM, whatever the word, I don't know what it is anymore, or Ambiens or whatnot, then this may be okay. But what it sounds like you're saying is that, it's something our body should be producing anyway. So for short-term, quick kind of like helping the edge off, there's nothing wrong with that. But long-term, it can actually confuse our body and cause continue. Because again, as you said, we started in the beginning with integrative medicine, is that there's a reason, right? There's something else going on if is that happening since we're not sleeping. So, so amazing. Well, I'm so glad she called and asked that.
Yeah, that was a perfect question because I think a lot of people use it.
Yeah. We think we're doing better. And to a degree, it can be, but again, it's that long term. We need to address the bigger cause there. Well, so as we're starting to wrap up, before my last question, can you please tell everyone where they can find you? What do you have going on? I know you have the clinic and anything else that you're offering today.
Yeah, so you can find me on both Facebook and Instagram at Dr.Aarti Soorya. And then my clinic is NB Wellness A2 and Natural Balance on Facebook. And we've got a free challenge coming up starting, I think, Wednesday, actually. It's a Curb Your Cravings challenge. So you don't have to be in Michigan to participate. It's online. So we've got a private Facebook group. We thought it was perfect timing after Thanksgiving, but perfect before Christmas. So we're just going to get to the root of why you might be having certain cravings and like for sugar or salt and kind of work through that for 14 days. And so I think it'll be exciting, good supportive.
So we'll have the link right here, guys, too. You'll see it in the chat and probably underneath Dr. Soorya right now. So if you want to get in on that, we'll do that. And definitely follow her on social media. Like she has awesome facts all the time. And then if that wasn't enough, she has like other doctors commenting. So even if you look in the comments, you just like learn a ton of stuff. So it's so much fun. I love following you. I'm always like, oh my gosh, yes. And then and then all your doctor friends, I'm like, oh my gosh, all I do is look at this. And now I'm like,
You get overwhelmed, right? Because it's like, you just want to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so awesome. Well, okay. So I want to go ahead and go in a little bit too, as you were talking about like some better ways for us to sleep. You were talking about how many hours, we were saying like 7 to 9 is like good. And when we get less than that, that's when we start to get into the danger zone right there. So before I do still have my last question, but we still have a couple minutes. So I'd love to like kind of touch base and just give a few more tips on what we can do to like sleep better.
Yeah. So blue light blocking glasses are great because they help filter out some of that blue light, but also look for ones that filter out green and violet. Everyone makes a big deal about blue, but these are the other ones also of the color spectrum that you need to look out for. So when you're choosing your glasses, don't go for the cheapest pair because they may not necessarily be the one that is going to filter out all of the light that potentially could be keeping you awake.
Okay.
The other thing,
we need to filter out blue, violet, and
green.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in the chat somewhere. Blue, violet, and green, guys. We need some special glasses.
Yeah, and then if you can, like getting more into the red lights. So if you're like, you could replace some of your light bulbs with like red light. That's a little bit more healing and telling your body that it's time to go to bed.
Your neighbor's gonna be like, we don't know what's going on
next door.
I don't know. They're talking about sleeping their way to the top. They got the red lights on.
I don't know
what's happening. So
the other thing is EMF. So if you can turn off your router at night, that can also impair how you sleep because it's changing all the frequencies that we're used to, like from a natural perspective. So these are kind of creating artificial electromagnetic frequencies that can really
disrupt us. So basically we need to set up our environment as much as we can. So that goes with our lights, that goes with the EMF. So turning off our router, things like that at night. And then our own habits, right? So the screen time, using the glasses, getting, eating better, getting some, you said going outside.
Yes. We don't spend time outside. We're meant to be outside. There's like the effect of grounding. So if you actually like take off your, shoes, it's hard in the wintertime, but, take off your shoes and socks and get connected to the earth. That is very calming to the nervous system. Yes. And so it kind of brings you back to like what we were supposed to be. We used to walk barefoot all the time. We don't do that anymore. And so that can be kind of one other source of kind of helping calm you down. Journaling before bed.
I'm just going to say this because I don't know if anyone else will, but I've heard some of these things before, but when I've heard them, they always sound really kind of woo-woo. And so, so having them come from like an MD, I feel like, okay, like I'm sorry for the people I didn't believe before. And I thought you were just woo-woo, but I'm a believer now. So
hopefully I made it a little scientific for you.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Well, so for my last question, doctor, please tell me, what is the plan that you have for me this week to to just embark on better sleep?
Yeah. So I know, I mean, you're in media, so you're always, I think, on the computer and everything. So for you, it was trying to get, right, wear your blue light blocking glasses and stop all, electronics at least 30 minutes, but I was hoping for an hour.
I can do that. I can try. I'll actually set up the ante. I'm going to try for 90. My husband's going to love it.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
do
it.
For 90.
90 minutes. Yes.
Okay.
And I think and then watching your environmental lights as well, because people will be like, I shut off electronics, but the environmental lights also can impact your sleep. So really changing that. So I think light is the big thing.
Okay, so light and my screen time, that is going to be what I do. I love it. So thank you so much. We're going to find a time even have you come back or something, because I think there's so much.
I know, I was like, there's so much more I want to say.
So, well, you guys stay tuned as we go through with social media this week. It will be dedicated to Dr. Soorya and any more of the lessons that we can learn from her. So you guys, again, thanks for being here. I do have my assignment. And so if you want to follow along with us and try maybe for the 90 minutes or 30 minutes, you can let us know how it's going by tagging us at My Design Life Show using the hashtag Sleep Power, or simply watch how it goes for me on my Instagram page at My Design Life Show. And if you like this and want to see more, don't miss a thing by subscribing to one of our channels, or better yet, get on our email list to get show updates, highlights, guest giveaways, replays, and more. And you can find everything at mydesignlife.show, TanyaMFK.com, or just reach out to me at TanyaMFK. And make sure to come back for our next show with crisis counselor and founder of International Association of Journal Writers, Linda Monk, as she teaches us how to avoid burnout with one simple habit, something that Dr. mentioned earlier, which is that journaling. So that'll be right here at 3 p.m. EST on Monday, December 18th. And tomorrow, Wake Up the Conscious Way with Awaken Atlanta show as hosts Tim Ray and TanyaMFK interview comedian Frank King. That's tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. on the Awaken Atlanta morning show. And lastly, our special announcement, UI Media is accepting applications for like-minded interns to join us in bringing the message to the masses. This is a great opportunity to learn about broadcasting, social media, production services, and nonprofit business. Email us at contact@unitedintentions.org or call 678-495-4345. Thanks again for being here. And remember, your someday starts today. Make it the best. I'm TanyaMFK. See you next time.
Thank you for joining us at My Design Life. Catch us every other Monday at 3 p.m. EST. My Design Life was brought to you by the UI Media Network and United Intentions Foundation in collaboration with TanyaMFK. Follow us at TanyaMFK, My Design Life Show, United Intentions Foundation, and UI Media Network. Do you have methods, tips, or hacks to live your best life? Be a guest on our show. Contact us at mydesignlife.show to submit an application.